How many people you get on there now, Tom?
Looks like 8.
Okay, we'll give them a few more minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I briefly mentioned the term that you told me before, that we have to be an independent, unincorporated private bank with state recognition and not a member of the Federal Reserve.
Not an independent. It's an individual banker.
Oh, okay. Individual banker.
Pull up. I told you to pull up Black's 4th edition dictionary and go in there and read what it says about individual banker and private banker.
Hello?
Everybody else out there, basically, you should be able to do the same thing. Pull it up and see what it says about individual banker and private banker in Black's 4th or later edition.
Hello, Patrick?
Yes.
Hey, this is Jeff. I sent you the memory stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if I could also get a CD or whatever it was of the 5,000 years of history.
I'm going to be posting it tomorrow up on the e-concurrent site.
Yeah, I was going to put it on your stick anyway, Jeff.
Oh, okay. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, and a few other things on there too. But when I get going here tonight, you're going to find out this thing is a lot simpler than what we thought it was.
Good. Okay. Well, like I said, if you have to hold on to it for even a week or two, if you expect more, I can wait.
Probably until this weekend, and then I'll try and get all these out. That tomorrow I should have a real better understanding of what's going on. That basically tomorrow morning everybody else should be out here doing what I'm going to tell them to do tonight.
Okay.
That's great. It's good news.
You got any more on there now, Tom?
So 8, yes. Jeff was the new one.
Okay. Okay, I'll give a couple more minutes here, and then we'll start.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up.
Anybody else got any other questions?
No.
I'm looking for the Black's dictionary here.
Yeah, I got it.
Black's 4th or better.
Right. I have to find my big dictionary folder.
And you go into banks, and it's under banks.
Oh, okay, here's Black's 4th. Found it. Damn. Okay, finally found that section here. It's on page 185.
Okay. How many you got on there now anymore?
And no one came on since Jeff did.
Okay. Okay. This is what's going on, okay? Forget everything about the comptroller of the currency, okay? All those documents, just put them totally aside. We need to be either, primarily, it appears that we need to be an individual banker. Not a private banker, but an individual banker. In a sense, is still in the private. Okay? But in their terminology, and a private banker is an unincorporated bank. And we're not going to be incorporated into their system out here. So we're going to be a free and independent bank, an unincorporated bank. That's what a private bank is. But we're a private banker, okay, or an individual banker of a private bank. What it says in Black's Fourth, it says individual banker. Under some statutes, an individual banker, as distinguished from a private banker, is a person who, having complied with the statutory requirements, has received authority from the state to engage in the business of banking, while a private banker is a person engaged in banking without having any special privileges or authority from the state. We need to have a state registration authority, a registration number from the state in basically the private capacity. It's sort of a pseudo play on words here in the process. But we're an individual. Then you can put all your individual property into your private bank, your unincorporated bank, your body, your vehicle, your private driver's license, your private whatever. All of those items now become property of the bank. Now, anybody that comes and attacks that, what are they doing? They're a bank robber. And you can file federal charges against them, especially if you have the authorization of the state. That is a private banker that does not have any special privileges or authority from the state. You can scream bloody murder, and basically they don't have to listen to you. It's like you're a pawn shop broker down there, and basically they may or may not give you service. Now, where do we go to find this? We have to go into the private. You have to either pick up the phone, you have to fill out a request from either the state banking division or the Secretary of State's office to find out about this. I went in this afternoon into the library and downloaded 160-some files from the Secretary of State's office and from the State of Iowa Banking Division. They're all public documents. I got home and started going through them, and I said, wait a minute. These are all public documents. That was an hour of wasted time because we can't use those forms. We want to be in the private, you need to be in the private. We'll say private is a positive and public is a negative. So you try and want to be in the private with a positive and you got a negative working together, what you just do? You just nullified the whole damn process. It's zero. You zeroed it out. So you're not going nowhere. You've got to go in with a private, a positive, approaching them in the private, another positive, and then you will get a positive number. I filled out a request with the bank, an online request, requesting information about a state, private / individual, unincorporated bank that is a non-member of the Federal Reserve System. And basically, I did get a call this afternoon about it. I was talking to one of the guys down in South Carolina and filling him in, and I said, I think we need to go into the private because all these forms are public, and we can't use these public forms. That's what's been our big downfall out here, is everybody wants to use public forms to be in the private. So you're nullifying your whole damn process. You got negatives working against your positive. And you're coming up with zilch. That damn simple. So after I got finished talking with this guy down in South Carolina and saying, I think we need to go, we either need to call him up or talk to him in a private, all of a sudden I got a phone call from the banking division in the state of Iowa. Not from an unregistered number or anything like that. I've got his phone number. I call him back. But he's going to call me back. I filled him in on what I wanted. I told him about this. I said, this is all documented in the statutes. Because that's what it just read out of Black's 4th edition, individual banker, under some statutes. Well, the only statutes we have out there are the statutes at large. And that's what I was looking at last night, because I didn't have any other thing that I could do. So I went back through and started looking at the statutes. I found right where that Bank Conservator Act is, and that is H.R. 191, 1933. I started from there and went back to about the turn of the century and then went forward in a lot of the endeavors, looking for what I was looking for was national banks, about state banks, about just individual, trying to find private banks. But what I kept coming up with was member banks and non-member banks. We're going to be a state non-member bank as an unincorporated bank, because a member bank is incorporated into their banking system. But we're not going to be incorporated into their banking system because we're not going to be using usury. We can't have other depositors in our bank. This is an individual bank. You can basically have your family members in your private bank, and you will still be the individual banker over those private accounts in your home bank. But in reality, they should be able to process their own private bank or individual bank when they come of age. We knew about this guy out in Colorado that walked into the Secretary of State's office, did something, and turned around and left there with access to his funds. But we didn't know what he did. Well, he had to go in and get the authorization to be an individual banker. I was watching a movie the other night. Bullet to the head.
Damn movie.
Sylvester Stallone. And he was driving a car. The first car he was driving in the movie, the license plate on it said Louisiana, had a number. So it was a state of Louisiana issued license plate number, but on the bottom of it, it had private. I've talked to several people around the country today, and they say, you know, I've seen those type license plates out here in the state that have private on them underneath, but they're state-issued licenses. They look just like every other license, but on the bottom, underneath the number, it has private. And they said, it just never dawned on me what you just told me, that basically that was now private property, and the cops pull up behind that, and unless you have causing some harm or something, they just drive right on by. Because they can only go after, with their codes out here, they can only go after a commercial license. And even though you don't think that license plate's on your vehicle and that certificate of title, that you are operating in a private, no, it's still in the commercial world. But once you put your assets into your private bank as an individual banker, then they can't touch it, because that would be bank robbery or grand theft outright. But you need to get on the phone. You need to either fill out a request for information online with them in the private, or you need to go down there and talk to them. To get your private authorization, registered authorization for your private bank as an individual banker. That's simple. You can do it tomorrow. Then, once you are an individual banker and you have your private, you have your certificate of live birth, that is your bank note. Does it not say on that your name? Well, then that's your bank note. It's not the state's bank note. That bank note belongs to you. Now you take that bank note and you go down to a member bank that's in the system with the Federal Reserve, and you have your bank authorization number, now you can process it through the system. Or you can fill out the appropriate forms like what we were trying to do before, the operating procedures with the Federal Reserve Bank, and come into them directly as a non-member bank, putting your banking notes into them to be processed. Because in the Federal Reserve Bank are the Treasury fiscal agents. And they will process it then. Or you can possibly get in touch now that you are a private bank as an individual banker and make contact with the Treasury Department directly. Possibly by way of the Comptroller of the Currency now. That the Comptroller of the Currency really handles pretty much all national banks. But it doesn't say that they don't handle private banks. See, there's a lot of things out here that are never said, especially when it comes to the private side. You have to go out and find out for yourself. I submitted 6 faxes to the Comptroller of Currency. Finally, after the last one, to where I think I used the word fuck in it, I got this woman from the Comptroller of Currency's office calling me up and saying, hey, you don't belong here. You're not a national bank. I tried to sell her, well, my certificate of live birth number says that I am. Says, no, that's not a national bank registration number. We talked for about 20 minutes, back and forth. I was getting a little testy and stuff, but she hung in there. But it was what she didn't say after we hung up that I got to thinking about, and when I talked over with a couple other people, then it started making sense. What she wasn't saying was what I needed to hear. Then we started piecing it together and saying, okay, we know we are a bank, but how do we get to be the bank? And then basically, since our certificates are issued at a state level, we need to go in and be a registered state bank in the state that we are presently domiciled in. Even though your birth certificate may be from 10 states away, it's still a banknote that in your domiciled bank that you're in the state you're in. Then you could take it down to Bank America or whatever, and if you got your bank number, they might process it through for you. We've had people go in and ask some of these major banks, and they say, oh, yeah, we've seen that before. What's your number? Well, they didn't have the bank number. When we went to the Federal Reserve with the OP operating procedure forms, we were trying to use the Social Security number, the certificate of live birth number, all these other numbers. We didn't have a bank registration number. That's what was missing. That's why they didn't contact us back in most cases. This is a lot simpler than what basically all this other. So all these documents that I've been working my ass off on, they're all for naught. But they're not all for naught because I learned a lot. I learned that I'm a pretty good document writer. And I can write some pretty good bullshit. That's really what it comes down to. Most all of that stuff that I did ends up now just being bullshit. Good fertilizer. Now we can grow from this and go forward. You have to have a little good fertilizer to be able to make the plants grow. So mulch up all the paper you've got and basically go out and put it in the garden and let it turn into fertilizer. And then go and call the Secretary of State or their banking commission and start trying to find out how you get to be a private bank and you as an individual banker. An unincorporated bank that is a non-member of the commercial world. And you will not use usury. You stay away from all that usury stuff. Operate the way the Arabs and the Middle Eastern people operate. In accordance with what's in the real Bible, not what's in the modern version of the church stuff that they've been using usury for the last 2,000 years. That's what the Knights Templars were all against. It was the monarchs and the churches in the damn European countries that were all out there trying to use usury against their people. And that's what the Knights Templars were totally against. Because they knew the real banking system. Okay, I'm done talking. Go ahead and start asking your questions.
Well, I really like the way you piece things together, figuring out what is the missing data and what they say. That's a real talent which we're going to have to learn to develop for ourselves.
Yes, and that's the only way you can do that is to get out there and start communicating with them.
Right. So we've got our clear homework. We each need to call our state and do our own work at getting getting registered. And if we have questions, then we need to get together and see if we can together fill in the missing holes.
But when you look at the definition, a private bank is an unincorporated bank. And then an individual banker or a private banker, there are two different capacities there.
Right.
You're going to be the individual banker. Because you have to have the authorization from the state to engage in the business of banking. Where a private banker doesn't. But both of them are working in a private bank.
So once we get this, it's possible that for partial payments we may be able to go to our own local bank and process the bills.
Don't go to your local bank, okay?
Go up to the top, okay.
Go to a good national member bank, okay?
Well, my local bank is a national bank, yeah. Pittsburgh National.
Well, that's not a local bank then, okay?
Right.
That's a regional bank.
Right, okay.
Local means state, locale, something in that regard. But in most cases, you're going to be able, and you're going to be doing a lot of this stuff. You might as well go right to the state banking division or to the Treasury Department at the state capitol. There's a Federal Reserve branch office normally in every state capital.
Wow.
You just don't know it. Because people really haven't checked it out.
Well, I've got one in Cleveland, 90 miles away.
Well, that's the main headquarters, okay? But there's other branch offices out of the Cleveland office.
Okay.
And in a lot of cases, like I said, each state capital, normally there is a subsidiary Federal Reserve Bank there to deal with the state. Well, if you're a state-authorized individual banker by the state, you then would be able to go into that state bank Federal Reserve office. And I've been to my state. I've been to all these places before. I just didn't know how damn close I was.
So, Patrick, we've been doing it wrong because I think I had read some research about everything that's public is corporate, the corporate U.S., and on the private side is the de jure side, the Constitution. That's where we should be at. Is that correct, what you're saying?
Yes. That's in the positive. Everything else is in the negative. So if you you want to be in the private, you can't use anything that's in the public because then you've got a negative combating your private action, and you end up with nothing. It's simple math. You got a positive one and a negative one. What do you end up with? A zero. So you get nothing. Simple math. Everything out here is without numbers. You just have to put in the connotation into the numbering system and find out what's wrong.
Now, when we set those self-executing judgments in the standing order, did they file yours? They filed my standing order, but they didn't file and send me back the self-executing judgments, but they did send me a letter. They responded, but it wasn't.
But it's not going to do anything because it's all in the public.
Exactly.
So basically, they might be making some money off it. They might have bonded it. It's hard to say. We don't worry about that. Forget all that stuff that I've done in the past. I said just a little while ago, I said it's good fertilizer. Use it as such. Make things grow now.
What about the
now you plant the right seeds, and you will get your crop.
Hey, Patrick, what about the state EIN numbers? The state EIN numbers, are they still needed?
I would get them just to have them on hand, okay? We can still use them in our bank. There are private numbers. They belong to us.
Yeah.
But we made them public, though. when we sent that
No,
order.
we didn't. No, we didn't. They can't use them. They need to have a signature to go along with it.
Okay.
Yeah. We can still use them on our checks and everything when we go out into the public world.
Oh.
Yeah, we can still do cashier's checks. But in most cases, we're going to go out there and we're going to get the funds and we'll hold them in our bank. But, yeah, we can still have a special bank depository set out there under our state EIN and under our foreign grantor EIN. But we need to have our bank authorization number, our state individual banker's authorization number. And see, that's what they were looking for from us before.
And what kind of ID do you think they'll need to get that registration number? You're going to take in your own private identification card?
You can go in with you can go in with whatever document you have right now. Certificate of live birth, whatever.
Is that your main asset?
It's best if you have a state public license and you surrender it if you go into the Secretary of State. But you need to find out what needs to be done. Ask them. Don't ask me. I'm waiting to hear back from this banker. If you don't find out, I'm hoping he's telling me it's over to the Secretary of State, and then I'll be over there in a heartbeat on the phone talking to them.
Well, that's some clear homework to do.
Not that much homework at all. Really no homework. It's basically just get off your duff in the morning and start making some calls.
Right.
That's right.
Homework
Or
of a project.
filling out online and filling out a request with the Secretary of State or with the State Banking Division, saying, I want information on how to get this done. What do I need to do? Did anybody else get any of those faxes sent into the Comptroller of the Currency?
I have mine ready to go, but I haven't sent it yet.
Anybody else sent them in?
No, I haven't. I tried to. I had problems trying to pull those documents.
Okay, I'm just asking, did you or did you not send any in?
No.
Okay, I wanted to see if anybody else might have gotten contacted from the Office of the Comptroller if they sent any faxes in.
I sent
Evidently,
the fax
nobody sent any faxes in.
I sent it in. Burdell sent it in, but I ain't heard no response.
Okay. Well, send your next one in and use the word fuck in it, and maybe you'll get a response.
10-4.
No, don't do it. It's not going to do you any good. We know where we need to go now, okay? So, basically, This has all been part of a learning process, and we're there. It's been a long, hard fight, but we know we're there. It's in the definitions, and it's in the statutes. It's also in the American jurisprudence, if you get a copy of that. You can find out some of this information about banking in there. You go into Ballantyne's dictionary and read what it says about a private bank, and then what it says about a private banker. And then compare that to what Black's Law says about individual banker and private banker. So I say you need to look at more than one dictionary in a lot of this processing. Then, once we get our authorization as an individual banker, now we can go in and close down all of our insured, interest-bearing bank accounts out here, like the certificate of title to your vehicle, like the driver's license, state-issued driver's license that has funds attached to it, like the marriage certificate, like the Social Security account, like the Veterans Administration account. All of those damn things are insurance policies. They're in the commercial world. You can collapse all of those and bring those into your private bank. Bring the assets in and have them brought in under your private bank as you are the individual banker of that private bank. And you have the individual authorization, state authorization. Individual bankers, state authorization.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anybody got any questions about this?
I have a comment.
Okay.
Years ago, I remember reading an article about a guy down in Florida who got into a controversy with a homeowners association about the color of his garage door. It went into a lawsuit. He went into court, and he was redemption process minded, and he issued a bill of exchange to the court for all of the court fees and whatnot. And the state attorney that was in court wouldn't accept it, but the judge did. And the judge, almost under his breath, said, "Oh, yeah, we accept those." He's acting as a private banker. And I thought that was an interesting term that I couldn't quite understand, and now I understand it better.
The judge said that? The judge made the comment about private banker?
Yes.
Wow.
The judge corrected the DA. He's acting as a private banker. Yeah, we accept that.
Yeah.
So there is definitely something to it.
Yeah, and then basically when you get that state authorization number or whatever in the private, okay, as an individual banker, then you've got all the authority you need.
Right.
And you have your private bank out there, unincorporated private bank, registered unincorporated private bank, and you're the individual banker of that private bank. you need to read those definitions. One's talking about banker, the other's talking about bank.
Right.
There's a big difference between the two of them. One is basically what holds the item, and then the other one is the person processing the stuff. So reread those definitions again with a clearer understanding of what is really being said, but also look at more than one dictionary to piece the words together. Any comments? Anything else? Okay.
Hey, this is Steve. I was just thinking something similar to a private banker is when you get a W-8 account, you're a non-resident alien.
Account, okay?
I know. I'm just saying that's the closest thing I can think of to it.
We're not getting close. We're not playing horseshoes, okay?
Right. Okay.
We're going for the ringers, okay?
Yeah.
We're not playing closeness here.
Yeah. We got to go talk to the Secretary of the State or the
you
state
need to
banking
find out
division.
where you get your bank, unincorporated bank, and then your authorization as an individual banker.
Right. I got it. I got stars by that.
Okay.
And it's probably going to be through the Secretary of State. That's sort of what this one guy said, but he said, I said, well, it might be in your back room there in the banking office, so why don't you check and see if there's a back room there that basically is holding some of this information. And he said, well, I'll check that and see. That I'm gonna check it out, and I'll get in touch with you tomorrow morning.
Yeah. I heard what you say. I got on a little bit late, but I got it when you said state non-member bank, unincorporated, non-member.
It's a non-member of the Federal Reserve banking system.
Right.
And see, all these other states are members out here because they're operating with FDIC insurance and also tied into the Federal Reserve banking system. Even the savings and loans, or the savings and loan places.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because you go in there and basically find out your savings and loan account basically is FDIC insured.
I'm going to go ahead.
Where they get their funds for the damn thing, they have to go to the Federal Reserve Bank.
Right.
So they may not have all the full banking capacity functions, but they are still operating in the system out there in the incorporated system, the public system, or commercial system.
Right, which you call a negative.
Yeah.
Well, it is fun to learn all this, and it's we get enough grief and stress and anxiety associated to it. You don't forget it. That's a good thing.
Yeah, and then you put this in, and that you're approaching the Secretary of State to get all your. You get this into the Secretary of State, and basically you notify the courts of what you're doing, and basically that will stymie them in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you're going to be moving your stuff out of the public realm into the private.
Mhm.
So they have nothing to play with.
They're going to have to return it because they're holding private property.
Yep. They've robbed the bank.
It's weird that they'll recognize a private bank, but they won't recognize a private man.
That's right. Everything out here is about banking.
Yeah, I heard you say that.
Yeah, I've said that, several times over the last couple of weeks.
And you're insane if you don't understand the monetary system.
Right. You've got two
Hey,
sides
Patrick,
to the
can I ask a
monetary
question?
system. One is a debtor and one is a creditor side. And we're standing really on the creditor side of the system.
Right.
All the national debt that's out here is national debt. And that's owed to the national people of this country. It's not owed to China. Public debt is owed to China, or corporate debt is owed to China, but the national debt is not owed to China. It's owed to we the people. It's a national debt. And we the people are the nationals.
Hey, Patrick, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to know, it seems like we could just do this number one item that you're talking about is be an individual private banker authorized by the state, and if we do that, we don't have to do any other things, do we? Like get the EIN number, make sure we get to 98 and all that, or could we just use this to get out?
You need to basically, I would still get the estate EIN and the foreign grantor trust EINs, because like I said, every bank has a bank routing number, and that's all that those EINs are bank routing numbers.
Okay,
and
I see.
When they get assigned, they're assigned to us. That's on private property now.
Yeah, I can see now. Okay.
But we will need to have a bank, our private bank registration number, and then our authorization as an individual banker of our private bank.
Ah, yeah, that's really good.
And see, that's where we need to get with the Secretary of State. Then you can get a private driver's license, a private license on your vehicle, a private certificate of title to your vehicle, a private certificate of title to your house, and put those on deposit into your private bank.
Yeah.
Sort of like what I did with my homestead exemption for my body. I placed it on deposit with the damn auditor of the county and also with the court, saying that my body is exempt. It's private property. That's one of the key things, I think, why they haven't come after me for all the traffic tickets.
Did you register that with the county recorder too?
No, I put it on. The county recorder wouldn't take it. The county auditor did.
Yeah, that's what
private property needs to go with the auditor because it can no longer be taxed.
Oh.
So my body can no longer be taxed. In other words, it can't be incarcerated. Because that's what's happening when you go to jail. You're being taxed. And then when you get this done in your private, with your private bank and your individual banker's authorization, now you can take control over your Social Security account out there and your Medicare accounts, pull them into your bank, and now you've got the funds to pay any hospital bills or anything you've got. You don't go out and spend it all and blow it all right away. You've got to start learning how to manage money.
Uh-huh.
You don't be like these people that win the lotto for millions of dollars and 3 years later they're dead broke. Before you give to anything, you check them out. Just because they say they're a charity, don't believe that they're a true charity until you go there and inspect the place. Then you can give them $1 million if you want to. But 90% of these people that are out here claiming to be charities, they're just a sweatshop room of people sending mailers out. Scam artists. I mean, if as much money in this country went to charities that the people give to charities, there should not be one child out there on the street.
Right.
All the churches out here claim to be religious followers of Jesus Christ and everything. Total bullshit. They'll close their doors to homeless people.
That's right.
But yet that damn minister is out there every Sunday wanting his tidings from the people just to get up there and give an hour sermon or something. And all he's doing is reading out of a damn book, and he doesn't even know what the hell he's reading. I mean, you could read that damn book at home and probably get more out of it than what he's doing.
That's right.
That's all there is to it. Just basically get in there and get your account. Get your private bank and get your authorization as an individual banker. And then get your private ID or driver's license, because it'll be a non-commercial driver's license. And see, that's why basically I have on my front of my vehicle. Basically, it says, not for hire. Not for hire means I am not in the commercial world. And on the back, on my license plate, I have USA elector. But I also try and avoid the cops as much as possible so I don't run into confrontation with them. But I parked the damn thing in the damn sheriff's office several times, so they know me pretty well there. It's just the local police that basically I don't want to run into confrontation with, that I can handle them anyway, but I just don't want the confrontation. And now, when we go and get this private bank and then individual bankers authorization, and then get our private documents and a state-issued private license plate on our vehicle, they ain't going to be able to touch us anyway. And then, see, you're a private bank, and you are, therefore, a private insured. You insure your own property. And you never get into an accident. It's always an act of God. Two people can't be in the same place at one time. So that's an act of God. Because it's two gods trying to be in the same place at one time. Even though one god's the one driving a locomotive and the other one's driving a little Pinto or something stopped on a damn railroad track. That you get out of your vehicle and get off on the side of the road and watch the car go away, and then basically go out and buy a limo anyway. Because once you get going, your private bank's going to have more money than you know what to do with, or access to more money than you know what to do with. But that doesn't say you go out and spend it like mad, because you will bring attention to yourself in all the wrong ways. You've got to do this sort of in the stealth in a lot of cases. Okay, any other questions? Comments?
Guess not, Patrick. Thank you very much. We'll get right to work on this.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Stop playing with your fingers.
Oh, that's stupid. Stupid mouth. We got to get this trackball straightened out.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. We'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Good night.
Right.
Good night.